Beloved child of mine, let your heart rest for a moment and listen to what I want to speak to you today. The fact that you are reading these words is not the result of coincidence, nor is it a meaningless accident among the countless events unfolding around your life. Before you came to know me, before you understood the mysterious ways of heaven, I already knew you. Before your lips ever uttered your first prayer, I had already heard the cry of your heart. As I have spoken through the prophet Jeremiah, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you before you were born. I set you apart. You did not appear on this earth by a random arrangement of human will. You carry within you a purpose, a calling, and a seal that belongs to me. There have been seasons in your life when you wondered why doors seemed to close before you. You saw others move forward while you walked through prolonged silence. You once thought that I was silent. You once felt as though your prayers dissolved into emptiness. But my child, my silence has never meant my absence. Even when you cannot perceive it, I am still at work. Even when your eyes do not see the outcome, my hand is quietly arranging all things. As it is written in the book of Romans, in all things God works for the good of those who love Him. There are things you do not yet understand today, but one day when you look back, you will realize that I guided every step of your journey with wisdom far beyond human understanding. Therefore, do not let past failures define your future. Do not allow yesterday's wounds to become chains that bind your tomorrow. I do not see you through the lens of your mistakes or weaknesses. I see what I placed within you from the very beginning, where others may only see your limitations. I see the potential they cannot recognize, where the world may call you ordinary. I know the great things I can accomplish through a life surrendered to me. David was only a young shepherd in the eyes of man, yet I saw a king. Gideon considered himself the weakest in his family, yet I called him a mighty warrior. What determines your destiny is not the judgment of the world, but my word spoken over your life. The tears you have shed have not been wasted. The long nights when you thought you were walking alone were never meaningless. I have seen them all. I have remembered them all. Some sorrows have taught you compassion. Some losses have taught you dependence on me. Some closed doors were meant to lead you to greater doors you could not yet imagine. When Joseph was sold into slavery, he did not understand what I was doing. When he was falsely accused and imprisoned, he understood even less. Yet, in my appointed time, every piece was aligned, and what appeared to be tragedy became the very path through which many lives were saved. Your life is the same. I never waste what you have endured. Therefore, today, I invite you to walk forward with a renewed heart. Stop viewing yourself through what has been lost. Stop measuring your future by the limitations of your present. Trust that the one who created you is still guiding you. Trust that the days ahead are held securely in my faithful hands. You are not called to live in fear, but to live in trust. You were not created merely to exist, but to become a vessel of my love, my peace, and my hope to those around you. And as you continue to walk with me, you will gradually realize that the greatest purpose of life is not to obtain everything you desire, but to become who I created you to be. This is the life of one who is sent by heaven, one who is no longer controlled by circumstances but led by faith, no longer living for what is temporary, but for what is eternal. Be at peace, for I am with you. Be strong, for I will uphold you. Keep moving forward, for your journey is still being written by my loving hand. My beloved child, before you think about the doors ahead, I want you to understand that what I am doing in your life does not begin with external circumstances, but from the deepest place within your soul. For many years, you have been accustomed to evaluating the future by what your eyes can see. When circumstances were favorable, you had hope. When adversity came, Your heart grew heavy, but now I am teaching you a higher way. The righteous do not walk by what they see before them, but by trust in the one who holds tomorrow. As it is written, the righteous shall live by faith. I do not want you to only believe when all signs are clear. I want you to learn to trust even when the skies remain dark. For it is in those moments that faith is refined like gold in the fire. Perhaps you have looked back over the years and felt regret. You think of missed opportunities, broken relationships, unanswered prayers. You wonder whether you have taken the wrong path or lost something that cannot be restored. But my child, in my kingdom nothing is ever truly wasted when a heart remains turned toward me. Even the detours you considered meaningless, I can transform into lessons that prepare you for what is ahead. Remember Joseph. His years in prison seemed like stolen time, yet it was there, in the darkness, that I was forming a man capable of carrying the responsibility of saving nations. What you call delay is often my wise preparation. Therefore, do not allow your mind to be imprisoned by present limitations. There are promises you have not yet seen. There are seeds I have planted that you have not yet witnessed grow. But a seed buried beneath the ground is not dead. It is quietly being formed where no human eye can see. Faith is the same. When Abraham received the promise of countless descendants, every natural circumstance contradicted it. His age, his situation, everything he could see said it was impossible. Yet he chose to trust me above his limitations, and what was impossible became reality. Today I am calling you to lift your vision beyond what is in front of you. Do not look at the smallness of the beginning. Look at the faithfulness of the one who began the work within you. I know there are wounds you still carry. There have been times when you were misunderstood, times when you were rejected, and moments of loneliness that made you wonder why you had to go through all these things. But I tell you that not every pain is a sign of abandonment. Many times, the very place where you feel crushed is the place where I am forming new strength within you. A grain of wheat must fall to the ground and die before it can produce many seeds. In the same way, the things you have gone through are creating depth within your soul, so that you may be able to empathize with others, love with tenderness, and learn to rely on me instead of depending on your own strength. What I am building is not merely outward success, but a heart that reflects the nature of heaven. Then I want to tell you about Esther, the young woman who was brought into the palace under circumstances she herself did not fully understand. There were days when she saw herself only as a girl far from her homeland, living in a strange and unfamiliar place. But what she did not know was that I was positioning her in the right place for a specific moment. When her people faced danger, she was the one called to rise up. All the years of preparation before that suddenly became meaningful, and the counsel given to her still echoes to this day. Who knows whether you have come to the kingdom for such a time as this? Do you see? I do not arrange your life randomly. There are places I bring you into, and there are experiences I allow to happen, because I am preparing you for assignments that you cannot yet fully see. Therefore, do not focus too much on what you lack. Heaven has never been limited by what is in your hands. When I seek someone to fulfill my will, I do not look at the amount of resources they possess, nor do I look at their reputation or position. I look at their willingness. A boy with 5 loaves and 2 small fish became an instrument to feed thousands. The miracle was not in what the boy possessed, but in the fact that he offered what he had to me. Today, I am asking you the same thing. Are you willing to place in my hands what you are holding? When you put it into my hands, I can do far beyond every natural limitation. My beloved child, I can feel the trembling within your soul. It is not aimless anxiety. It is a sign that I am awakening what has long been asleep. There are dreams you once buried because of disappointment. There are promises you stopped expecting because the waiting became too long. but I am the God of restoration. As I spoke through the prophet Joel, I will restore to you the years that the locusts have eaten. I can bring life back to the places where you see only ashes. I can open a way in the very place that seems impossible. I can cause streams of water to spring forth in the wilderness and make the barren land bloom. Therefore, rise up with new courage. Do not let the past hold you back. Do not let fear prevent you from moving forward. Place your entire future in my hands. Let me lead the way instead of trying to control everything on your own. When you say, "Father, I trust you," you are opening the door for the power of heaven to move in your life. And then you will realize that the new season I am preparing is not only a change in circumstances, but a transformation within you. For my greatest goal is not merely to bring you to a better place, but to make you a bearer of my light to a world in need of hope. Walk on, my beloved child, for I am before you, behind you, and covering you with my everlasting love. My beloved child, there are moments in life when your soul feels a deep stirring within, as though an invisible door is slowly opening before you. This is not a fleeting emotion, nor is it a product of your imagination. It is a sign that I am preparing to bring you into a new stage of your journey. Therefore today, what I desire from you is not fear before the unknown, but a heart that is ready to receive what I am doing. Prepare your heart like a watchman, waiting for the dawn. Keep the lamp of faith burning brightly. Do not allow old disappointments to rob you of your ability to hope. For I am the God who turns what seems like an ending into the beginning of a new and glorious chapter. For many years, you may have grown accustomed to living within the limits that circumstances built around you. You looked at reality and concluded that certain doors would never open again. You looked at what had been lost and thought it could never be restored. But I want you to understand that my power is not bound by what humans call impossible. When I speak, the desert can bloom. When I act, walls that seem unshakable must fall. Remember my word in the book of Isaiah. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? What I am preparing for you is not a repetition of what has passed. I am leading you into a new journey, where my grace will be revealed in ways you have never imagined. However, my child, the things I promise are not given to passivity. True faith always calls for a response. When Peter saw me walking on the water in the midst of the storm, he could not simply remain in the boat and wait for the miracle to happen. He had to step out of his place of safety. That very step opened the way for the supernatural. Today, I am also inviting you to step beyond the limits that have become familiar to you. Do not wait until every question is answered before you move forward. Do not wait until every fear has completely disappeared before you obey. Walk with me, and you will discover that the strength to continue is given to you on the journey, not before the journey begins. There are things you must let go of in order to receive what I am placing into your hands. It is not because I desire to take something away from you, but because hands that cling tightly to the past can hardly receive the future. There are habits that are slowing you down. There are voices that are sowing doubt into your heart. There are concerns that keep you from hearing my voice clearly. Let those things fall away. Just as a runner lays aside every weight in order to press toward the finish line, you too are called to cast off whatever is hindering your steps. For I have not called you to live forever in the land of safety. I have called you to step into the land of growth, where faith is stretched and the heart is transformed. I want to tell you about Joshua as he stood before the Jordan River. Before him was the water at flood stage. On the other side was the promised land that the people had waited for through many years. But the miracle did not happen while they stood on the bank debating the difficulty. The waters only began to part when the priests carrying the Ark of the Covenant stepped into the river. Do you see? Many times, I wait for your step of faith before I reveal my wonder, not because I lack power, but because I want your faith to mature. I want you to learn to trust me, even when the water still stands before you and the path has not yet appeared. My beloved child, do not measure yourself by what you currently possess. My kingdom does not operate by the standards of the world. When I choose people to fulfill my plan, I do not look for the most perfect, the wealthiest, or the most prominent. I look for willing hearts. A shepherd boy became an anointed king. An ordinary fisherman became one who preached to thousands. A poor widow with only a little oil in a jar witnessed a miracle of abundance take place in her home. What made the difference was not the resources they had, but the fact that they placed what they had into my hands. Therefore, do not see yourself as one who has been left behind. Do not call yourself a victim of circumstances. I have appointed for you an identity far more noble than that. You are loved. You are chosen. You were created with purpose. As it is written in the first epistle of Peter, you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation. When you understand who you are in me, the lies of fear will lose their power. The chains of insecurity will no longer be able to hold you, and the limits others have placed upon your life will no longer be strong enough to define your future. I know that sometimes the journey ahead feels too great for you, but remember, you do not walk alone. The one who calls you is also the one who walks with you. When I sent Moses before Pharaoh, I did not leave him to manage on his own. When I entrusted Jeremiah with the mission of speaking my word, I also placed that word in his mouth. When I sent the disciples into all the world, I said, "Behold, I am with you always, even to the end of the age." Today, that promise still remains fully true for you. I do not stand far away, merely watching your battle. I am right there in the midst of your journey, sustaining every step and guiding you with love that never changes. Therefore, my beloved child, delay no longer. Do not keep looking back at the things I have told you to leave behind. Do not allow fear to steal the harvest I am preparing. Let faith become stronger than doubt. Let hope become greater than the memory of old failures. Lift up your eyes and look beyond what the present is telling you. For I am working in places you have not yet seen. I am preparing things you do not yet know. And when my appointed time comes, you will realize that not one day of waiting was wasted. What I have begun in your life, I will surely complete. Step forward with courage. Respond to my call, and then you will see my faithfulness revealed far beyond anything you have ever asked or imagined. My beloved child, before I open wider the new doors on your journey, I want you to learn to see yourself through the eyes of faith instead of through the limitations that the years have engraved upon your mind. There are days when you stand amid the burdens of life and assume that you are only a small person in a vast world. You look at your failures, the things still unfinished, and the wounds not yet fully healed, and then you conclude that you cannot go any farther. But my child, what you see is only a very small part of the picture I am painting. I have never defined you by what you have gone through. I see what you can become when you place your hand completely in mine. Even before you appeared among humankind, I knew you. I called your name before anyone else recognized you. As it is written, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. Therefore, do not think your life is an accident. Do not assume that the steps you are taking are meaningless. Every season you go through is held within my providence. Even the days that seem darkest are not beyond the reach of the one who is guiding your life. You often pray only for enough strength to get through today. But my heart for you is greater than that. I am not the one who merely helps you survive hardship. I am a loving Father who desires for you to live in the fullness of grace, peace, and purpose. I want you to become a river that carries life to those around you who are dry and weary. Many times, you limit what I can do because you compare it with human ability. But I do not operate according to the limits of the earth. I am the one who causes the desert to bloom, who causes the night to give birth to the dawn, who turns the impossible into the possible. When you no longer confine me within the framework of your own reasoning, you will begin to witness things far beyond your imagination. Therefore, do not continue saying that you are not capable. Do not keep repeating the words of denial that fear has sown into your heart. Remember what I have spoken. Those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. True ability does not begin with your own strength, but with surrender before my power. When you are weak, I remain strong. When you cannot see the way, I have already seen the path long ago. When you feel that the door before you has closed, I am preparing another door that no one can shut. Perhaps what hurts you the most is not the hardship itself, but the times you were looked down upon, the times you were misunderstood, and the times you were rejected. You have carried those memories like heavy stones within your heart. But today, I want you to lay them down. Jesus was also rejected, doubted, and opposed. Yet no opposition could stop the redemptive plan that heaven had ordained. In the same way, what others say about you does not determine your future. The judgment of the world has no authority to rewrite what I have written. My plan is greater than the opinions of man. Therefore, it is time for you to stop living as someone who is always waiting for recognition from the world. Do not live as though your worth depends on praise or on the gaze of others. You are an heir of the promise. You are loved. You are chosen. When you understand this, you will no longer be afraid of contrary winds. You will walk with a peace that circumstances cannot take away. I also want you to look again at the things you once called failures. There were doors that closed and caused you pain. There were losses that made you think you had dropped your future along the way. But many times, what you called brokenness was actually my arrangement to bring you to a better place. Look at Joseph's journey. From the coat of many colors to the deep pit, from the prison to the palace. Every stage seemed to contradict the original promise. Yet, in the end, every event became a step, leading him to the position I had prepared. The same is true for you. Not one tear is useless when it is placed in my hands. Not one trial is meaningless when I am using it to refine you. So today, instead of looking at what has been lost, fix your eyes on what I am forming. Instead of counting your limitations, count my faithfulness. Instead of allowing fear to decide your steps, let faith lead the way. For I am preparing things for you that you cannot yet fully see. And as Scripture has written, no eye has seen, no ear has heard, and no human heart has imagined the things God has prepared for those who love Him. My beloved child, lift up your head. Do not walk as one who has been forgotten. Do not live as one without hope. You belong to me. Your name is written upon my heart. Your future rests in my hands. When you trust, when you continue to walk, even before you can see the entire road, you will realize that I have already gone ahead of you to prepare everything you need. And at the appointed time, what I have promised will blossom in your life, not to exalt you as a person, but so that others may see my kindness, my power, and my unchanging love through the very story of your life. For there is a truth you need to understand. The most dangerous thing is not the failure you once experienced, but continuing to identify yourself with that failure. I have never called you by the names the world placed upon you. When people see weakness, I see strength being formed. When they see cracks, I see the places where my light can shine through. When they think you are unqualified, I have long seen the person I will use to accomplish things beyond expectation. As I have spoken, you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation belonging to God. Do you see? Heaven does not define you by your fall, but by the purpose I placed in your life from the beginning. Therefore, do not keep wearing the garment of shame. Do not live like someone asking for permission to exist. I did not create you to shrink back into the dark corner of fear. I did not form you to constantly doubt the worth I placed within your soul. You are the work of my hands. You were shaped with wisdom and love. Every ability, every experience, every tear, and even every battle you have overcome is coming together to prepare you for what I am about to do. Remember the story of Bartimaeus, the blind beggar sitting by the roadside. For many years, others knew him by his condition. His name seemed tied to helplessness and dependence. But when he heard that Jesus was passing by, he lifted up his voice and cried out. What is remarkable is not only that he was healed, but what he did right before the miracle took place. He threw off his beggar's cloak. It was a symbol of the old identity he had carried throughout his life. Before his eyes were opened, faith had already caused him to let go of what once defined him. My child, many times I am calling you to do the same. I want you to release the old labels, the old stories, and the old judgments, not because they never existed, but because they no longer represent who you are.